All right. Hello, hello, hello. And welcome to Intercultural Spark, that show where we're doing technology, where the technology is going to work. It's working. All right. Well, hello, 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 and welcome to Intercultural Spark, that show about the spark inside you that drives you, or actually drives entrepreneurs, to spark change in the world through mission-driven businesses, purpose-driven businesses, and life projects. And let me tell you something. I just looked this up today. Did you know that small businesses with less than 10 employees actually make up, of the 6.1 million businesses in the United States, we are 78.5% of them, and we actually contribute 43.5% to the GDP. So I'm telling you that small business is big business. I am your host, Deanna Schaas. I'm the founder of Intercultural Talk, and that's where anthropology meets communications. And we talk to all kinds of business owners to get their stories about how they're succeeding in business and supporting their families and doing amazing things. And we hope from them we'll get usable ideas for other business owners. So once a month or so, we focus on technology. Like for small businesses, what technology do you need to know? And today's guest is our favorite technologist, Thierry Hubert. And Thierry calls himself a responsible technologist, looking at how technology and AI will not replace us, but actually how it'll make us smarter. But before we go any further, here's one of my funnest parts of the day, which is the flash exercise. So, as a group fitness instructor, I always do an exercise that relates to the theme of the show. I'm going to show you the exercise. I'll bring Thierry on and let him try it as well. And at the end of the show, we'll let you guess why I picked that exercise. So I'm going to take my earbuds off for a second. This exercise, it's a cardio exercise, and it's called a marching square. Okay. So this is what it looks like. Of course, I always like to get into fitness instructor mode. All right. So it's 3 marches and a hold. So it goes 1, 2, 3, hold. 1, 2, 3, hold. If you want to maximize that cardio, give me some big, strong arm moves. 1, 2, 3, hold. Now we make it a square by marching in a square. So here it goes. 1, 2, 3, hold. 1, 2, 3, hold. 1, 2, 3, hold. And 1, 2, 3, hold. All right. That's our exercise, Thierry. You're going to look at that. My heartbeat's already going higher. Wait, Thierry's got his.
Okay, I don't know what you took this morning, but I want some.
It's going to be tricky for Thierry to guess.
No, it is going to be tricky. I'm in a workshop in Texas, and no,
so you're not going to get up and do it.
Although, you know what? I know exactly why you did this exercise, and I will answer the question. I will
at
tell
the
you
very end. All right, hold on.
I know why. I know why.
I can't wait to hear. So, hey, listen. So, I wanted to I'm going to ask you a question. Wait, I like that. I'm going to ask you all the questions. I'm going to ask you a question to start. So, today with technology, we're talking about sort of the intersection between the growth of the metaverse, remote work and virtual meetings, and avatars. But I'm going to ask you, can you give us like an elevator pitch version of what the metaverse is?
A high level definition, very simple. It's a substitute. Oh, are you there? Okay. Yeah. So it's the substitution of the natural world with a virtual world in which that is not bound by physicality, by the laws of physics. You could reproduce it, but it's not bound by it. So it's basically a sensorial experience that extends basically the possibilities. That's simple. That makes sense to you? I mean, you expected I know you know me. You expected me to have a longer answer, so you could do whatever you're doing in the background. But
yeah, exactly.
But for a change, I'm giving you a concise. I didn't expect you to
have a longer answer. Yeah. I'm not back at my desk yet.
I know, isn't that crazy? I'm realizing I'm giving her a good answer, and Usually she expects me to keep
I
going and
know. I thought I was
going
gonna
and
have to come back
going.
on and like be like, wait, Thierry, can you like okay,
No,
excuse
but
me. So
you should have said to me, so it should be your old French way, and you're in a cafe, and
or
you
do it in
explain.
French now. So
Bien
basically
sûr,
what
je peux le faire en
you
français. Tu veux?
wait.
Alors, en fin de compte, le monde
Thank
virtuel, hein,
you.
c'est ni moins qu'une transposition, si tu
All
veux,
right.
de
Okay. Wait,
l'état
that's
réel en
the Thierry
virtuel.
I know where I have to
Yeah,
go,
there
okay,
you go.
stop, wait.
Yeah,
So
now you
so
do it.
so
Voilà.
basically what you are saying is that it replicates the real world, but it actually allows you to do
Not even
everything
the
to
real
talk.
world. It replicates the world. It replicates a relationship, your relationship with objects, virtual objects, with your senses. So if you want to make it be comfortable, make it look like the real world. If you don't want to be comfortable, make it look like something else.
Oh, interesting.
Right?
So whew, all right. So, well, actually, so where I heard about the metaverse, and I really recommend that people read this book because I kept hearing about Neil Stephenson's book, Snow Crash
Mm-hmm.
from 1992. So I
Mm-hmm.
read the book because I wanted to kind of understand the reference that it was making. What's fascinating about that book is that it was written in 1992, so none of it existed. This guy had to actually imagine all of this, and it's pretty phenomenal. Have you read the book? It's pretty phenomenal in terms of what he imagined the metaverse would be like.
Yeah, it is. It is incredible, but it is also when you're in technology and you're starting, even back then, you're starting to, even with gaming, even Tron, think the movie Tron, for whatever reason, like the movie Tron is the same, is also a metaverse.
Yeah.
So it's interesting when, it's expanded to the social impact, just not the entertainment and the commerce that can exist in it, right? And the immersiveness that comes with it that
Mhm.
makes it much more intimate.
Well, and I'm thinking I'm much more simple person when it comes to how technology is growing. And I feel like right now, like the use of technology for meetings is out of pure boredom. Like you've got remote work, you've got some people back at work. How many times people, okay, I'm so zoomed out, like I can't do Zoom anymore.
I'll tell you this
Um,
example. I'm working
okay.
with my remote team. I've got a new engagement right now in Texas, and I've been coming there, in two waves of 1 week. Why? Well, because we can do it remotely, because I need the complexity of human senses and interaction to understand the nature, the culture, to be available or to observe in order to really establish then after more remote practices, but with an in-depth understanding of the people and how they work and have a sensorial intimacy with them. And that's, to me, is like every time I did teleworking, I've been in the world of groupware and remote working since Lotus Notes, for crying out loud. I was doing this in the late 80s, mid 80s, late 80s. And it was always the same thing. Oh, it's great. Teleworking is great when you know your culture, when you know your people, when the things that you don't need to express are already understood. Yeah, it works. But when you're meeting new people, it's a whole different story.
All right, so let's actually take a look here. And by the way, if people are watching live, I encourage you to ask your questions live. But what I thought I would do is kind of walk through some of the stuff that I was playing with to kind of get your thoughts on it. Because you're talking about you need to understand people. So this
Mm-hmm.
is spatial.io. I'm not necessarily saying this is the best one or the only one, but this is the one that was easy to play with and have fun.
Yeah,
So
fun.
you can see, okay, so first of all, just want to show you when you're picking your avatar. So you can see that's actually my face. So I uploaded a photo. So that's my face on the avatar. But then what's fun is you can, like if I'm going to do my fitness mode, I can be in my fitness clothing. But I
Did you give
chose,
yourself more abs? Did you give yourself more abs when you went
oh
to
yeah.
fitness mode?
Well, yeah, those are actually my abs. That's actually my figure on the person
Okay.
as well. So that's how, so you pick your avatar, but then you go into, I'm just going to go here. So I was looking at this one. So then I guess once you're actually have, this is just the free account. So I'm just playing, but
Right.
you can
Right.
actually then move into a meeting
Mhm.
space. Uh,
Yes.
but actually also, I'm just going to go to the beginning of this one. Look at the top here. So all those people that are in these spaces, this is just the demo. That could actually be your meeting. Those could actually be your coworkers who also have created avatars that are in that space.
Right.
So, which is pretty cool. What are you seeing with I'm seeing like that could really be great technology. Like I think
Uh,
people will adopt that. What do you think?
I think I've got mixed feelings about that.
Oh, you do? Tell me.
I do.
Because
I
you're
really
a
do
wait, you're a
because
responsible technologist, so
I'm
why
a
do you have mixed
responsible
feelings?
technologist, right?
Okay.
So first of all, like it's an extension of Second Life and all these other technologies that came that
Which
didn't
that
go
came out
through.
in like 2000 and never stuck. Like that did, I
Yeah,
mean, well,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
millions of people used it, but it
Yeah,
didn't.
they used
Yeah.
it, and it was like it was kind of like it's the gimmicky thing, right? So we're at the
Hmm.
experimental stage right now. And we're in the experimental stage because people are getting used to the fiction design. And now the fiction is becoming design. And by that, I mean that we are, we already have a view of where this will be. Like if you look at the
Hmm.
meta ads from Google about the teaching and all that they have on television, makes you're in the amphitheater, you can look at the Senate and the Roman Empire before Brutus kills Julius Caesar, and you can witness it firsthand, and you put your
Wait, where do
goggle
you
and
see that? I'm
oh,
sorry.
that's the ad, the meta ad from Google,
The
right?
meta
So ad
ad
from
from
meta
Google.
advertisement on TV from Google.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
so it gives you a view of education in the future, and the value of full immersiveness and coming together in an amphitheater where you put your goggles on, but you're not next to that person, right?
Mhm.
So, or if you look at the TV show Upload, which is brilliant. Upload is like
Yes, which
you
upload so
know,
people know that is on is it on, I think it's on Apple, and
it's
it's
on
actually
Amazon.
where
Amazon. It's Amazon
oh, it's
Prime.
okay, so it's on
Yeah,
Amazon, yes, and so it's
yeah,
on Amazon, and it's where people
yeah.
can upload their intelligence,
Well,
uh
when they die, their
yes.
body gets zapped, their brain gets completely scanned and zapped,
Mhm.
their head falls off and disintegrated, and they're in a virtual world, which is actually Lake Louise. They said it's Lake Louise in Canada, that beautiful resort,
Ah,
out
gotcha,
there.
okay.
But so this is kind of interesting because it that fiction, right, is telling us we can remove our body, right, and we can control our body, we can control our environment, and basically it's all about the perception of the mind. So when you go into those environments, you're saying I'm substituting the reality, but eventually, just like the Matrix is another metaverse. um, I'm actually I'm actually moving towards the space of dematerialization of the body for a
Oh,
new dematerialization for a new materialization,
oh my god,
digital
okay. So
okay,
dematerialization of the
materialization of the
body for
body.
new materialization of the body,
Yeah, exactly.
which actually what Nat says, Natalie says, so
Hmm.
and hi Natalie, thanks for being here. Do you see an issue of inauthenticity? So what you just said is that
Totally.
once you dematerialize, you could just be like anyone you want to as an
Well, that's
internet
the thing, and
persona.
that was the beginning of the internet. That was the problem at the beginning of the internet.
Oh,
Somebody
because
could
people could be
pretend to be.
fakers.
Right. So now you're getting into the fantasy world, the dream getting close, the demon in the real sense. I had a wonderful conversation with people in academics around that when we first started with the internet and communities of interest around we for the first time in mankind's history, we actually are creating real demons in the pure definition of demons, which is presenting yourself as something you're not and having an impact on those, right?
Okay, can we just though quickly before we go to demons? Plus, I'm hearing music in my ear because I'm trying to demo this. Can we demo the good use of it before we go to the demons? So
Yeah,
can we do you mind
sure.
if we do
A
it?
demon
Okay.
is not necessarily bad, but anyway, go
Oh,
for it.
I just automatically think of demons. So
I'm looking at it from a
basically,
literal standpoint, but anyway,
all
go
right,
ahead.
so this is inside of spatial.io. And so
Yes.
basically what you can do, so I'm like in this space and you can actually so you can start walking around the space.
Yes.
That's me. What I love though is how do you stop people from doing things like watch this? They can dance to the music.
Yeah. So you're having fun. So you're interacting. So you're
But
having
I
fun.
could if there were other people here, and sometimes I've been in here where all of a sudden there'll be other people. Like you can totally
Yeah. I mean, it's exciting, right? It's an augmentation. I mean, you're in an alternate reality, and you're in control of yourself,
yes.
and it's going
But
to
now
get
what
better.
happens if there's other people? I have seen, I'm just in a demo space. I've seen where
Yeah.
there's other people in the
Yeah.
space.
And they come in and you can interact and you can follow each other. I mean, it's like just like Second Life, right? It's this idea that you're in a video game where all the other actors are in the same video game. Right,
Okay, can you
right.
just
It's
tell
like
me to
it's
stop? Because otherwise I'll forget that you're here and I'm just going to keep walking around this space.
yeah. Well,
Okay,
it's
I'm going
a
to stop.
okay. So
Sorry.
where's the so? But where is the value? Okay, so it's fun, and that's what talent. It's fun. It really helps entertain you, and eventually. So we've been working on a virtual conference, right? Like you said.
So
So
you've been working
you
on a
could have,
virtual conference.
yeah, a virtual
Okay.
conference to some extent. So
Mhm,
so the idea is, for example, we did it in such a way that you would drop on a floor map and you had different rooms. And when you
mhm.
got near a kiosk, you would see the information, you can interact, and you can hear each other. And the closer the person, the louder you hear them, just like in real life.
Mhm.
And if you
Well,
went
just
into a
like
room
on
alone,
Zoom, there's things on spatial.io. There's the same camera and mic icons that you have on
yeah, but
Zoom that
imagine
you
that
have
you're
on
on a
here.
map, like when you are in that space and you talk. The
Okay.
system is able to recognize that you're close to somebody else. So people type right now, but let's say you activate it, and this is just a limitation of technology, especially with graphic cards and all of that, and the fast internet. You could literally, instead of having to type or having transpose chats, which is what you've seen in a lot of those systems, I
Mhm.
could get close to you and talk to you, and I could mute you, or you could mute me. So and then you talk and I hear you.
Oh my
So you
god, how
can
many people have thought about that in real life? I think
Eh,
isn't there, like, mute
absolutely.
buttons?
There was an episode in Black Mirror. It was an episode in
Yes.
Black Mirror where they actually muted the person because they misbehave in a social context, right?
That's so funny.
Because because their senses were filtered, their eyes and their
Yeah.
ears were filtered by augmented technology, and therefore they could control their interaction with the natural world to the point of muting a human being. So all of this opens cans of worms in terms
Mhm,
of social behavior, but there's other things that are far more practical, like
mhm,
augmented reality. So compared to virtual reality and metaverse, which you have, but another part of the metaverse is augmented reality, where you put your HoloLens on, or like some car manufacturer like Mini is coming with the Mini glasses, where the real world has a layer of geospatially position indication, like direction. So instead of looking at your phone, the arrow shows in transparency in the real world for you, right? Or if you are an engineer and you put on the HoloLens and you look at an engine, technical
mhm,
information about the parts show up, and it
mhm,
also shows you how to take it apart. And you're observing the real world, but the
mhm.
superposed to the real world are basically objects and information that help you interact with
Mhm.
it.
So
So
don't you
those are
think
really
though,
practical use.
those are practical uses, except that like Oculus lenses, things like that are like $3,500. So there's a huge gap in terms of who might do it.
Yes.
And it feels
Yes.
like with some of this technology, like even with applications for meetings, because Zoom is so boring, that companies can invite other people to join where you don't have to have the glasses, that you don't have to.
Well, yeah, you don't have the dependence on technology. This is why 3D glasses for TV failed.
Mhm,
People want to have natural interface, and this is why a lot of people who are doing basically virtual reality games, they get locked into it, and this is why it's not I mean, it requires an appendage to your
mhm.
senses
Well,
for
I'm just yeah.
it's a
And
problem.
also when I've seen it, I'm just thinking of as people get older. So a lot of my clients, let's say, are non-digital natives. So I work a lot with non-digital natives, getting them connected
Right.
digitally or bringing, teams together so that
Yeah.
they're found online. And I'm thinking with some older adults, you already are wearing glasses that have, let's say, distance, medium, and then close up. And now imagine if you
Yes.
add another little square in the other corner, like people are going to be falling downstairs left and right, you know?
Well, if you look at it this way, if you have like Google with the Google Glass trying to do that, but if you had a sensor, a gyro on your glasses before you fall, and there's augmented reality detection of basically the staircase, it might beep at you before you fall. So there's a whole bunch
I'm
of things. I mean,
We're
that's
just gonna be
totally
walking
feasible.
around beeping. Oh
That's
my
totally
god.
feasible. Well, we do it almost with our Apple Watch right now. It's
Oh, that's
so
true.
yeah, you fall and an accident occurs. It's an emergency, right? It could detect a heart issue, a heart attack. So we are there, and it's incremental. It's incremental.
Mhm,
It's going to happen, and it's a question of how do you make the big use of it. Sure, it's fun, replacing Zoom with this virtual presence But substance to me is far more important than that level. And I think that is a Zoom meeting meaningful in the first place, or do we have it just for the sake of having it because we're not near people, we want contact, and we're wasting a lot of time in the
I
meeting?
mean, that's a whole other subject. And
Yeah,
I
it
did
is.
I want to show this little clip as well. Because I also, when I look at technology, there's two sides of it. So let's
Mm.
say if a business owner is non-digital native, maybe Gen X or Gen X or even boomers who are going to be in business another 10, I mean, it could even be like another 20 years, say another 10 years. It's what's the technology that you're really going to have to know, and what's kind of something that's for the future. This
For the
is a
future?
little bit more the features now, I guess. This is a little bit
No.
more about this is a little bit more from the CEO of Spatial about how it works.
Yeah.
Move
I mean,
my
how
hands,
it works
so
is
does my
understandable.
avatars. When I move my hands, so does my avatars. Then you can join one of the spaces Spatial makes. The company made this custom elevator for me, but the preset Spatial meeting rooms are being used by all sorts of companies.
Do you have a sense of who's using Spatial? What types of companies?
So this
Anywhere
is,
from 40% of the Fortune 1000 to just regular small teams.
I thought that was a big deal when he said 40% of Fortune 1000. That's the CEO of Spatial, and they are actually having an avatar virtual
And
conversation.
trying to stay connected. So some of the customers are like Pfizer, Mattel, a manufacturing company, also companies in fashion, government agencies, intelligence agencies.
What about the spaces themselves? Are people customizing them to look like their real office space?
So I just wanted to share,
Yeah.
I think that's interesting to actually see. That was literally a real-time conversation between two people
Yes.
that are not in the same space. I guess they're coming in from wherever they are. It looks like they both have the glasses on, but
Yes.
that looks like a really real conversation.
Well, it is fun. It's a real conversation. And it's like I say, it's streaming, and you're basically replacing a real world with a fabricated world. But it's all about some substance and the play. And when they say that all these companies like Pfizer, I come from the world of big corporation. I also created my business, and you're talking about small businesses also. So this is big corporation trying to create an optic that they innovate. Okay. Big business,
Oh,
the
wait,
definition
say
of
that phrase
success.
again. I
They
love that phrase.
create the optic. They
An
want big
optic that they
corporation
innovate.
that's right.
So they're
They
not
don't.
really innovating?
No, of course not. I mean, I've been
Ooh.
in this. I felt the innovation doesn't come from them. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
I've been in it. I've been director of R&D. I have worked in innovation. This is and I told one day there was a big pharmaceutical company who invited me. They wanted to innovate. I said, I feel like, you know, like I'm at Versailles and I'm Marie Antoinette pretending to be a shepherd because you want to be close to nature, but you're nothing is natural about your world. And innovation is like this. They want the optic that they're innovating because the definition of success for large business is boredom. It's not innovation. They only innovate in reaction to a threat. And it's really rare because the boredom is being disrupted. The slow, predictable growth is being disrupted. The disruptors, the one who innovate, right? The disruptor, the small company, the small businesses who are basically making real practical use. Two executives or three executives or a team at a big biotech or a big bank using this technology is basically playing around in a sandbox, having fun, and then being able to make an announcement that they're visionaries, when there's nothing visionary about their practices. So I think coming from that world and having been in that environment where you have to present an optic so that the shareholders and people see you as an innovator and you worry the competition and there's this
Oh, so they
I've
think
seen it
there's
with
something new
AI.
happening.
Yeah,
So what
exactly.
do you
I
think
don't
is
I don't
real
buy it.
then? So what do
I
you
don't buy it.
think is real? What do you think of the technology for the small business owner? What are the trends that you think that are happening? And I'm thinking now specifically with this idea of the metaverse and virtual meeting
I think
spaces.
sales. I think sales. You want to
Sales.
demo a product. Yeah, I think you want to demo a product,
Oh.
right? That would be a cool way of doing it. So
People
you
would
can,
love to. You know what? I
yeah,
could see that though, where
yeah.
where as a person, I'm a person, as a
Mhm.
person, you don't have to actually know all this stuff, but someone
Mhm.
invites you into their space to
Yes.
actually try something. People
Yeah.
would love that, and they would probably like the product better because they've had
Yes.
this really cool
Yeah.
experience.
It's
Oh, that
a
makes
it's
so much
a
sense.
it's making a high touch expense, medium touch expense. So, when you do sales and you have contacts, when you go for
Mhm.
prospecting, the ideal is a no touch, like viral marketing tool solutions. You don't touch the customer. You don't need to do advertisements. You get the customers coming in. And a high touch is somebody coming into your store and building a
Mhm.
relationship and building trust. And now we have the ability, and see, I'm looking at it really from a business perspective here.
Good.
So now you have the ability to create a near high touch and innovative high touch impression, and it's intimate without the constraints of the physicality and the expenses of having to have a showroom, for example.
Right, a big
See,
without a
yeah,
physical oh my god, so you're creating a
yeah,
full physical space without
virtual.
actually having a space. Do you know who would have fun with that? In Chicago, we have this huge electronic store called Apt, ABT. And Apt, like, they have so much cool stuff. They created a really amazing experience in store. I wonder if that seems like a logical extension for them to
Yeah,
try
it
to
would be.
add on.
As a matter of fact, I was dealing with a company in Texas that, when you go to a store and you look at electronics or object, they did
Mhm.
projection on molded shelves. That basically the object was not there, so it couldn't be stolen, but it actually could give it a representation through a multi-directional
Is that
basically
like a
projection.
hologram of the
It look,
object?
but it's physical. So instead of doing a hologram, the distortion would embrace basically the shape of the object in a molded surface, and it almost looked like it was real, that the object is there. Or they do this on cars where they would project on a car, and then
So it would be a
basically it
molded
would
object that's the same shape of the item,
and you
but
would
it's just
order
like
it and pick
cement
it up.
or paper mache or something,
Yeah,
and then you
but it had
project. Oh,
animation.
wow.
You could it detect your hand movement. The features would show. Same thing with a car, like a Mercedes. The
Wow.
hood is there. You put your hand over it, and the hood disappears, and it gives you an augmented reality of the engine,
Hmm.
right?
Oh,
By
wow.
projection. Very cool stuff. But to me, this is where innovators and people who are looking at how to augment and improve their reach as a small business can make good use of this technology.
Mhm.
And
What do
and,
you think of,
and
I have to show you the last one that I pulled up. This
sure.
is more for fun. This is
We
flirtu.al.
can feed the ducks.
So have either of you been on a date here?
Oh, yeah, I've been on a date here.
This
It
is
was
avatar
Okay.
virtual reality
Feeding
dating.
ducks, a nature stroll, or
Yeah.
a round of mini golf. Welcome to Dating in the Metaverse, where you can come as yourself, that's me, or a floating robot, all from the comfort of your couch.
Let's
There
just
you
go to
go.
virtual speed.
I'm
So there's
sorry.
another one where you can use it
It's
for dating. That feels like there's so much that could go wrong with that.
well, it could go wrong, but the whole thing is that, again, it's the novelty, it's the fun experience. I think it's going to wear off, and then when the innovation, the technology really catches up, it's going to be basically these are the social training wheels by the industry to make you accept, right, to make you familiarize you with what the
Ooh.
feature has to bring.
Oh my God. You know what's amazing about that? I am such a sucker because I have gone completely from absolutely not, there's no need for that. That's dumb to like, isn't that cool? You're telling me to settle down and you're the technologist.
Yeah,
So
well, because
we
I've
only
lived
have a
these things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we only have a
I've lived them.
minute left. So I just want to
Okay.
sort of summarize that you're saying that the applications for business might be for this user experience for retail, not necessarily for these one-on-one or smaller organizations that companies want to appear innovative, but actually it's often just hiding the fact that they're not doing anything. And yeah, is there any other summary? And then I want you to guess because we're out of time. You have to guess the exercise and why I chose it for today.
You were a virtual avatar from Second Life. You were not you were a little robot. You were a little artificial you without fluid motion. You needed an upgrade. You
Wait,
needed a serious upgrade.
that's exact. There's two parts to it. One is, the other reason you'll get is from when you watched me inside spatial.ai and I kept bumping into things.
Yes.
Exactly. A very stiff walker who can only walk certain ways and can't figure out. I was stuck in my little square. I couldn't figure out how to move. So yes, that was the real life avatar version of myself.
Right. There you go. And by the way, there is a metaverse that children have been playing with for over 12 years.
What's that?
It's called Minecraft.
Ah,
Minecraft, they go
Yep.
for real in it and they build things and they play and they interact. If you want to understand the purpose, the intent in that one is I want to build stuff and I'm learning to build and mix and match material to create new material in order to create a big home or to fight off enemies. There was a purpose to it. But the
That's
kids
true.
all did it. All did it. I
Which
mean,
is
the
why
adults are
they're
looking
now
at
and they're now
yeah.
becoming the adults. So actually video games are a great way to practice. Plus they're a great way to practice in terms of all that movement. Thierry, our resident technologist on Intercultural Spark, thank you so much for
Oh, you're
being
welcome.
here. It's always so much fun to catch up with you. And again, for small businesses, Intercultural Spark, I like to say it's anthropology meets marketing. We try to help people just interact and market and communicate in all kinds of different worlds and environments. And we may not have grown up with technology, but we're certainly not growing old without it. So thank you, Thierry, for your insights. And we will see you again in about a month for our next topic. So
Love to.
thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Thierry.
Appreciate
Bye.
it. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.